people. Welcome to the Dr. Joy Show, your prescription for total wellness. And I am your host, Dr. Joy. Ooh, do we have an interesting program for you today? You'll never guess. You'll never guess behind the pretty clothes, the fabulous jewelry, the beautiful dwelling, and the fancy car that this person overcame alcohol addiction. Yes, she was a functioning alcoholic. But before we get started, you know what we do on the Dr. Joy Show? We take it down with our 3 deep breaths. Are you ready? Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. How do you feel? I feel great. I want to welcome my guest, Michelle Jensen, the beautiful Michelle Jensen, to the Dr. Joy Show. Thank you for being a guest today. How are you?
I'm great. How are you? And thank you for having me.
I'm fabulous. Your story is so interesting, so we're going to jump right into it. If you look at her, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful clothes, fabulous accessories, fabulous car, fabulous dwelling, everything fabulous, wonderful job, right? Relationships good. Now you had all of this years ago, but there was something else that was going on in your life. Why don't you tell us?
Well, I was an alcoholic.
Okay.
Okay, it didn't start till I was about 25. In high school, I didn't drink or smoke. It was later in life that my disease came through.
And you said disease. Why do you say disease?
Because alcoholism is a disease.
It is.
Okay, it is something that you are born with.
Okay.
It is a disease.
Okay. All right. So were you functioning? What were you doing? At 23, 25, you found out. What was your day like?
Well, I fooled myself because I didn't think I was an alcoholic, because I thought an alcoholic, was homeless and didn't have money and just drank a bottle out of a bag.
Right.
I thought that person carried a flask every day, drank morning, noon, and night.
Okay.
That's how I fooled myself. I didn't drink every day, Dr. Joy, but when I drank, I could not stop.
So what was your trigger? Like, how did this get started? Was it your fast life back then, or people you were hanging out with, or somebody said, hey, taste this drink, and you just couldn't stop? How did it get started?
A combination of all that. Mid-20s, going to the clubs, friends, going out, living the life, living like a rock star,
Okay. And then when did you notice? When did you really notice that this was a problem?
When my friends and my family noticed. Because I didn't think I had a problem. I told you I didn't drink every day.
So then what did they say to you? How did they approach you? Tell me a little bit about that.
No one wanted me to die.
Okay.
They saw the behavior. I was fearless. I could drink 15 beers, 10 shots, and get in that car like Wonder Woman.
Whoa,
and was never
time
scared.
out, hold on, time out, hold on. I said time out. Did you just tell me that you drove after you drank 15 beers?
Yes, I had no fear.
Okay, and your friends and family watched you do that?
Well, no, I kept a lot of it hidden.
How did you hide it?
Well, easily, because I, at one point, didn't even live in the same county as my family.
Okay.
Okay, I was engaged at the time, living in another county, so they didn't know my daily routine.
Now, you said engaged. Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Was your partner-to-be also addicted to an additional substance?
He loved to drink as well. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was toxic.
So it was very toxic. Okay, so how long did that relationship last?
We were actually together almost a total of 9 years.
That's a long time. So are you telling me that you started at 23, 25, somewhere in your 20s, you were together with your partner for 9 years, and so you went through this for 9 years? How long was your journey?
Actually, no. At one point, I was clean for 3 years. And then one day I said, oh, I got this. I've been clean for 3 years. I can have one. Biggest mistake all alcoholics make.
Now, when you say clean, define clean for me.
No alcohol for 3 years.
Okay.
Not a sip.
Not a sip, but how did you get from drinking 15 beers? That's a lot of beers. 15 beers and mixed drinks, I'm assuming, right? To being clean. How did you get from there to being clean?
Because I got tired of it. I got tired of waking up depressed and miserable and looking at myself going, what are you doing? You have everything going for you. What are you doing to yourself?
Yeah, girl. Fabulous. In your 20s, early 30s, beautiful clothes. I mean, you know, everything is defined. It should be defined individually. But most of the people would see you and say, oh, she's got it all together.
Oh, yeah. No one ever knew. They thought I had the perfect life.
Okay, so did you hold a job? Were you employed?
Yes.
And did you come in contact with a lot of people?
Yes.
So were you drunk?
I never drank at work, but it was no secret. You can smell it on someone the next day. And people that really knew me, they could see the difference in my behavior.
Okay, so explain to me your behavior. What is this? Because you said that 3 times. So what was your behavior? I know you said fearless, but give me an example besides the driving. But what did you do at the office where somebody would go, pause?
I've always been very outgoing, a very happy soul, always a smile on my face. But when I was hungover, I was miserable. I had no patience, no tolerance. I had no feelings for others.
Did you harm anybody while you...
I harmed people in the sense of hurting their feelings and scaring them.
Okay.
I hurt a lot of people because they were so afraid I was going to die.
And how long, okay, so you were you were abusing the alcohol, then you were clean because you got tired of it, and then what made you start again? See, this is what's so interesting about your story is that you were halfway recovered the first time, and now you're fully recovered. So tell me what happened the second time.
The disease wants to kill you, and it will trick you. It will convince you. It is crazy. I said to myself, it's been 3 years. I've beat this now. It's okay. I can have one.
So did you go out with your fiance? Did a friend say, hey, why don't you try this new shot? Or did you just decide to buy a beer and try it?
I was at a Yankee game, and it just happened. It wasn't premeditated. It just happened.
And the funny thing about it is I know that the Yankees are your favorite team.
That's right.
Okay, so you drank one of these tall ones at
Oh,
the
yeah.
Yankee because they're like pretty tall.
Very tall.
There's no such thing as a
Oh,
small
no,
beer
no.
or the Yankee. Everything is big there. All right, so you took a sip and was hooked, or you drank the whole container and you were hooked?
I drank the whole thing, and then when it was empty, I had to get another one.
Who was with you at the Yankee game?
A friend.
And your friend knew that you were...
No. So that was partially why I did it too, because I thought I could get away with it.
Okay, so fast forward now, 3 years you're clean, now you're back, you go to the Yankee game, you take not one sip, you chug the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh, yeah. And ordered more.
ordered more.
Sure.
What did your friend say?
Well, she was drinking not as much as me.
Okay.
She's a social drinker.
Okay.
So she didn't really think anything was wrong.
Okay. Now, did you feel your behavior change back? How many beers did you have that day at the game?
Wow, I don't know.
9 innings we're talking about. Game could go for 3 hours, right?
I didn't start immediately, so I would say maybe I had 6.
6? 6 big ones at the Yankee game?
Yes.
Michelle, do you know that the Yankee game was probably 9 innings? Okay, so you were averaging 1 an inning. Okay, so I'm just trying to get the concept of how much beer you were drinking, and then what happened after that? What happened?
Well, I couldn't tell you who won, and I drove home. Again.
Okay. You drove home. That means not only you are fearless because you didn't care about your life. But when you get behind a 3,000-pound machine, that would be your automobile. I'm sure that was fabulous and fancy. Bling, bling, bling. You also put everybody on the road at risk.
Right.
Why did you do that?
Because I wasn't afraid. I
And
wasn't afraid.
have you ever gotten pulled over for
Never. I was so blessed and so lucky that I didn't.
wow. So you have no DWIs?
No.
You are a lucky girl.
The
You're
only
lucky that you're alive.
I should be dead.
Why do you say that? I think I know why, but I want you to tell me why
I
you
am
should
still
be dead.
here for a reason, because I could tell you dozens and dozens of times I should have been dead. I'm here for a reason.
So describe your typical day. Describe it to me. You're working.
Mm-hmm.
What was your typical day from sun up to sundown, I guess, when you went to bed?
Well, I didn't drink every day. Okay.
All right.
I would wake up and I would go to work,
Okay.
and then I would come home. Sometimes I would drink at night, but maybe I wouldn't. But then maybe the next night I'd go out and get so drunk that the next day...
So you would binge drink?
Exactly.
Okay.
And that is a form of alcoholism that people don't realize. When you
yeah.
can't stop.
Yeah. So you would binge drinking, say maybe on a weekend, and then you would go dormant for a little while and then resurface?
Not necessarily. Like I said, the disease really messes with your mind. Oh, it's a beautiful day out. Let's go in the pool and have some cocktails.
Wait a minute. So is a beautiful day a trigger? What's a trigger?
Everything.
What do you mean everything?
Ugh. I had a bad day at work.
Okay. So your bad day at work would be a trigger. You might have a fight with your fiance. That might be a trigger. Okay. Car wouldn't start. Would that be a trigger?
Probably not, because I'd want to get to work,
Okay.
depending on when it didn't start.
Run in stocking. Would that be a trigger?
No.
All right. Where I'm trying to go is to see if any excuse would be a trigger.
Any excuse.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So while you were drinking, did you add anything else? Any marijuana? Any
No.
cigs? Any?
Cigarettes, yes.
Okay. So, but all right. So you had nicotine.
Yes.
So do you feel that you were addicted to nicotine as well?
Yes.
At the same time with the alcohol?
Yes.
Okay. So how did you start smoking first or drinking first?
Smoking first.
Okay. Now, what about with your family? Anybody? Is this hereditary? Did your mom or daddy, brother, sister?
It does run in one side of my family.
Okay. All
The
right.
disease has affected every side of that family.
Really?
Yes.
So you said only one side. Okay. Are you in communication with that side?
Yes.
And and are they recovered as well, or are you?
Oh, yeah. Luckily, right now, I don't have anyone in my family that I'm aware of, because, some live in different states, that are, alcoholics.
Okay. So let's go back to when you were actually drinking, right? How was your relationship with your friends and your family?
Well, I've always had a close knit of friends. I never, was someone that had a lot of friends.
Okay, so under 5.
I had my party pals. Those were the ones that liked to drink with me, but
Okay.
they weren't the real friends. I hurt a lot of people. I did.
How?
Sometimes I might say really nasty things to a friend when I was drunk, if they tried to tell me to stop. I broke my mother's heart. I broke her heart. I mean, she got to the point where she couldn't even look at me anymore because she was so afraid that she would have to bury me.
And you were in your 30s. Oh my goodness. Do you have any idea on what the alcohol does to your body?
Oh, now I do, yes.
I know.
And I do not miss it at all.
How long have you been sober?
7 years.
Now, that doesn't include the other 3.
No.
This is the 7 from the second go round.
Yes.
Wow. That's a long time. So describe your lowest point. What was your lowest point?
I was just miserable and depressed because alcohol is a depressant.
Right.
Okay. I lost myself I wasn't me anymore.
Did you want to commit suicide?
No.
Never thought of that.
I never ever thought about committing suicide. However, I do believe that all addictions are a slow suicide.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And you just don't realize it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so your lowest point, describe that day. I'm going to take you there. I'm sorry I don't have any tissues on set, but...
The lowest point was I was at a wedding, and all my family was there.
Okay.
And I tried to sneak it.
Were you drunk going to the wedding?
No.
So you hadn't had any alcohol that day. You get to the event, and what happens?
I wanted to drink.
Okay.
Okay. And
Well, it's a celebration. I mean, everybody wants to drink,
right?
Okay. Okay. So
I would go to a bar in a different room and drink there, so no one would see. But then eventually, when I was bombed, everyone was aware. And that's when my father said, "You are going to pack your bag, and tomorrow you are going to rehab."
how long did it take you to get to that bombed state? See, and I'll just give you a little information about myself. I'm what's known as a very lightweight. So about this much wine, and I'm like, okay, red wine doesn't have to be high content in alcohol. It can be low content with 6-7%, and I'm floating. How many drinks or how much alcohol in volume would it take you to get to that bomb state?
I had a very high tolerance.
Okay, so
I mean, I could just keep going and going and going. I once passed out, was taken to the emergency room with a blood alcohol content of about a 3.1.
3.1?
I mean, I was almost dead.
Okay. Wow. Okay, so this wasn't when your father said to you.
No,
this was
that was
another
prior
incident.
to that.
Okay, this was prior. Was that the first round before the 3 year?
Yes.
Okay, and then maybe that's what triggered you to stop?
Yes.
3.1.
That is what triggered me to stop.
Okay, so you chilled out from the alcohol. Yes. Did you keep smoking?
Yes.
Okay, so you continued with the nicotine. Did you increase on your nicotine?
No, that actually pretty much stayed the same.
Okay, so that stayed the same. That's been constant. And then you got back into it. You went to a wedding. Your father said, okay, this is it. We're done here. So did you resist him?
I did. I did not want to go away. I did not want to go someplace inside for 30 days. I was scared.
Okay.
I said, can't we try to put me into an outpatient program? And it was the best thing I ever did. An outpatient program was 4 months.
Describe outpatient for me.
I would go, in the beginning, it would be 4 nights a week for about 4.5 hours.
Did you work? Did you continue employment?
Oh, yes. I worked in the day and I went at night.
Okay.
And it was the best thing I could have ever done for myself because I was with people that understood. No one judged me. No one yelled at me. They understood.
I couldn't even see anybody yelling at you, though. Who would be yelling at you? You mean on the outside?
Yeah.
Who yelled?
My mother.
Oh,
Because she just was sick with fear.
Yeah, she was sick. I mean, think about it.
One of my best friends, because she lost her husband to an overdose, and she couldn't handle seeing me like that.
Okay.
My father was scared.
Okay.
And you know what?
So you had a lot of love around you.
Yes.
You're a lucky
very
girl.
fortunate.
All right, outpatient. So you resisted at first, then you went 4 nights a week for 4 months. So what was your first day like? And where was this outpatient?
It was near my home.
Okay.
Okay, it was an amazing facility. The first night I went, I cried. And then going forward every day when I went, you started to become close with the people in your group and share all your stories. And my counselor was amazing. In fact, when I graduated, I cried because I didn't want to leave. So,
but since it was outpatient, what kept you from getting in your car? I mean, you get in your car after the session, and then going straight home and not drinking again, or having a little detour to go to a bar or something and not getting a drink. What made you What motivated you to stay on course?
I didn't want to die. I did not want my little brother to see me in a coffin. I have too much going for me, and I just did not want to die.
So that was it.
And I will tell you that alcohol is a drug.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's legal. It is a drug.
Wow. Okay, let's talk about what you went through with the outpatient. Now, why didn't you want to do inpatient? I have to ask that. Why?
I don't know. I was afraid to be secluded. I was afraid that I'd get scared being away from my family and my friends, the fear of how they would treat me there, just the whole unknown.
Yeah, because they probably would get in your face a lot, right?
And you know, Dr. Joy, my philosophy was if I go inpatient for 30 days or I go outpatient for 120 days, the liquor store's still there. So what difference does it make?
Okay.
And I think that the 4 months was better.
Yeah, I'm doing the calculation in my head, and I'm thinking that you're probably right, because you had distance between the actual facility and your life outside the facility for 4 consecutive months. That's a long time. That's a long time. So what was your first day like? You said you cried, but were there steps? Was there a process? What did they do?
Well, every evening it would be something different. We would go over the 12 steps, obviously. Sometimes we would watch movies about addictions. And every night, each member of the group would have to talk about their day.
How many members were in your group?
I would say maybe a dozen.
So you kept it small. 12, okay. And the sessions were 4 hours a night? Okay.
With 2 little breaks.
Okay. And the 12 steps, do you remember them? I know it's a long time ago.
I do remember them. To me, admitting that I was an alcoholic was the most important step.
Okay.
And making amends to everyone that I hurt was the second most important step for me. Because I had so many people that loved me.
Yeah.
And I really scared them all.
So with the 12 steps, Michelle, I'm not going to ask you because that was one of my other questions was which 2 were the most paramount in your life, and you said what they were. But do you go through all 12 steps from beginning to end in chronological order, or when did you come to realize that you were an alcoholic? When did that happen within those 4 months? How many weeks is that? 16 weeks.
I just finally got it. I finally
Was
got
it after the first week, second week?
No. I mean, in the beginning, let's face it, I went because I was being forced to go.
Right.
I didn't want to be there at first. But after about a month, by hearing all the different kinds of stories, I mean, worse stories.
Really?
Oh,
worse
are you
than
kidding?
3.1?
Alcoholism, losing your house,
Oh, yeah.
your job, your car, your divorce. I mean, horror stories, and I didn't want that to be me.
Right. So you were really functioning at a high level because you kept your life. It's just that you had a little extra. So you didn't lose your home, your automobile, your job. Did you lose friends? Did you lose friends? Did you lose family members?
I didn't lose any family members. They just were very unhappy with me for a while.
Okay, so they didn't kick you to the curb because you...
No.
Okay.
But they're very, very proud of me today.
Oh, I know that.
Very.
I know that's right. So if you can go back, what would you do different throughout that whole journey? See, because you told me, I listened, 23, 25, that's when you started. All right. Then you broke. You started, you did it for what, 6 years, 7 years? Then you had 3-year period. Then you went to a Yankee game, started up again, and now you've been sober for 7 years. If you had to do it all over again, what would you change and why?
You know, I don't think I would change anything because the disease had to surface eventually. For some, it starts at 15. For some, it could start at 40.
Right, because it
I
depends.
mean, I wish I could go back and erase it all. And I wish I could have accepted that I had a problem, but I can't. And that's okay, because the place that I'm at today, where I am, is so amazing, and it's all because of what I went through.
So you grew from it.
Oh, in leaps and bounds have I grown. And the people that know me, they see it.
So I'm gonna turn the mic over to you now, and I'm gonna ask you, what advice would you give the viewers about alcoholism, detecting it in their friends and family?
Well,
How do you detect?
behavioral changes. Oh, yes. When people you know very well act different, there's something going on. There's something going on, whether
Different in
it's
a bad way.
drugs or
Okay.
alcohol. If they don't take care of themselves, if they stop caring about how, they look, if their house becomes a mess, if they're out partying all the time. I mean, there's so many signs. But what I can say is if anyone out there is watching this that thinks they're an alcoholic,
What do you want to tell them?
if you wake up the next day depressed and miserable and you feel like you just want to die because you feel like such a loser, and that keeps happening and that keeps happening, there's a problem. Okay? Because a lot of times when people are in that hangover,
Right.
oh, God, I'm done. I don't ever want to drink again. I'm so sick.
After they've puked their brains out
Right.
and they've taken all the aspirin, right?
Because that's what I would do. Close all the curtains, turn off the phone, lay on the couch, watch TV, feeling like the biggest loser. Miserable.
So if you're saying that if a person feels that way, go get some help.
That's right. Because 2 days later, when they feel fine again, they forgot that down. And then they're back at the bar.
Wow.
And you're fooling no one but yourself.
So 7 years sober, because we're going to wrap this up.
Okay.
7 years sober. Do you ever get the inkling or desire to take another drink?
No.
So if you go out with your friends and they say, hey, Michelle, try this new shot, what do you say?
Well, my friends know I'm recovered.
Okay.
So they would never do that.
Okay.
But honestly, no, I have no desire to, because that next drink will be my last. I know that.
Wow. So you just ignore it altogether.
I will not even have a piece of candy if it has alcohol in it, because I do not want to wake up the beast.
You said it.
I do not.
Well, I want to congratulate you. I want to
Thank you.
congratulate you,
Thank you.
for overcoming your addiction, and I want you to stay on course because you have a lot going for you. And I want to thank you for being a guest on the Dr. Joy Show and sharing your story, because your story, trust me, touches a lot of viewers.
I hope so.
Either they may know someone, they may be in that same situation themselves, or they may know someone. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Until next time, be blessed, stay healthy. See ya!